everyone, Josh here at House Guitars, and I'm shooting the first construction video of the Building a House Guitar series. If you watched my first video, it was me talking a bit about the materials that I use and some of the features that you can expect to find in all my guitars. So this video is just going to cover the joining of the back of the guitar and the top of the guitar. And as I mentioned in the first video, what you're going to be seeing here is the construction of one of my LG models. Stands for little guitar. It's an approximately 3/4 size guitar with a 23.5-inch scale. Can either be used in standard tuning or tuned up about 3/2 steps, TERS style. So the wood for the back and the sides is machiche. It's this hardwood here. Rosewood-like, a little denser and heavier than Indian. Very nice wood tonally and nice visually as well. Looks kind of similar to Indian rosewood but lighter in color. And on the right hand side here we have a set of torrefied Sitka spruce. Now first thing that I do when I'm getting ready to join a back and sides is I look the set over, and I just want to see how the wood grain matches. Nearly every top and back for a guitar is what they call book match, and that means they take a single piece of wood and they saw it right down the middle, and then you open it up like a book so that you get a matching grain pattern on either side. And so what I want to do is take a look at the grain pattern. Now you may be able to see in the video this wood's got a little bit of a spring in it, and what I did was the wood was a little thicker than it needed to be for joining, so I thinned it out, and it seems that when I thinned it out it decided to spring up a little bit. So that's not a concern. It'll be pressed and clamped when it gets glued, and that spring in the wood will come out. But what I want to do when I'm checking the layout is just make sure that the grain does match very well on either side. I want to check and make sure there's going to be no defects or things that I really don't like visually showing up in the back or the top. And one of the ways I check that is just by taking the mold for the shape and just laying it kind of on the back or the top, moving it around a bit to see what the different grain pattern could be depending on how I position the mold. And as I look at the back here, it looks good. I don't think I'm going to do anything to this other than join it together. The grain is even. When I join my backs, I look for straight grain. You can see the grain on this back set here. It kind of tapers in a little bit to the top, and I always like to put, if it's tapering in, I always like to put that kind of pointing towards the heel and the heel cap, where you get the point of the heel cap. I just think visually it works better than, say, flipping it around and having the point come together at the bottom. So I like this. That's good. We're gonna join that together. Now the Sitka top over here is another story, because as I look at it, and you can see on the video, there's actually a fairly dark section to the wood in the middle here, and structurally there's nothing wrong with it. There's no reason I couldn't put it together. Visually, I don't think it's exactly what I want. I'd prefer a little more even color, because just a single dark stripe in the middle, it doesn't look that great to me. Also, the edge has got broken off a little bit somewhere in the sawing or sanding before the top made it to me. So what I'm going to do is actually go to the saw and cut out this dark portion in the middle. Now I've checked, and the top is plenty wide enough so that I can cut a strip out of the middle and still have what I need as far as width. Okay, so I'm just going to shut the video off and go to the saw and do that now. For time's sake, I'm not going to be able to show you every single cutting sanding operation through the construction, but I will try and show the main things. So I will be back momentarily with the top plate cut and ready for joining. Okay, so we're back here again. I've trimmed the top. You can see that a lot of the dark is now gone from the center of the top. So not only did I trim some out of the top, I also squared up the top. I found that the grain overall was tapering a little bit in, and I just want the grain going straight up and down as much as possible, so I corrected that. There's still a little bit of a dark shadow in the grain here. I don't mind that so much, and once the guitar is put together, you won't really notice it, as you'll have the fretboard up here, the sound hole, the bridge. There will be enough other things going on, and enough of this will actually get cut out or covered that you're really not going to notice it. So we're ready now to join the top and the back. So the first thing that we have to do before we can glue it up is to create a really tight joint in the middle. And I'm going to show you how I do that with a hand plane. That's how I learned to do it. The method works very well. It does not take me much time at all, so I've continued to do it this way. So I'm just going to set up for that and show you how it's done. Okay, so here we are at my work table here, and getting all ready to plane the joint on the top here. Now, I'm going to say excuse me if my hands and stuff get in the way. I've just set up the video camera and then I'm working in front of it, so I can't exactly see what I'm taping, but this is my setup for planing the joint on top and back. This is about as simple as it gets. A lot of guys have shooting boards and more elaborate setups, plane guides and stuff that they use. I just never used that, never seemed to need it. This method works very well for me. This is my plane here. This is not a great plane by any stretch. It's a record. Fairly cheap, and it's all I could afford when I was starting out. And I upgraded the blade, and it's worked very well for me ever since. I keep thinking I should upgrade, but this is working so well, I just haven't done that. So all I have here on the bench is some pieces of MDF and my top. And what I'm going to do is just clamp the top here to my bench. Now, before shooting the video, I checked my plane blade, made sure it's very sharp. I want it to be razor sharp. It should be sharp enough to shave with. It works best when it's at that sharpness. And so I've got the blade backed off a bit here. I'm going to just take a few passes to set the depth for the blade, sliding it back and forth. I don't have it deep enough yet, so okay, so there we go. You can hear it when the blade catches the wood. So I just want to take a very fine cut. And I'm going to have to play around with the depth a little bit. There we go. I can hear it now. Taking some very fine shavings. Okay, so here are the shavings. Extremely fine, which is what I want. That means that the blade's good and sharp. So what I'm going to do is just take a couple quick passes, and then I'll check the joint. I usually do a light pass in the middle, followed by 1 or 2 full length. Now, if I've done this properly, then that may be all that's required for jointing the top. I squared it up on the table saw, so it already had a relatively straight edge. Now I'm just trying to get I'm looking for a near perfect joint, or a perfect joint. The goal is that when the top and the back are joined together, that the average person will not be able to find where the joint is. Now, sometimes you can tell because of the way the grain comes together, but on more kind of woods with generic grain patterns like mahogany, it can be nearly impossible to find the joint if it's done correctly. Now, the way you check the joint is by holding the two pieces together with a strong light behind it. It's a method called candling, and I can't really show you that on the video and shoot it at the same time, but I'm just gonna hold this up against one of the lights on my shop ceiling and check it. And so far I like what I'm seeing. I want to be able to hold it together with fairly light pressure and not see any light coming through. So I've checked this against the light. This is ready to be joined. As you saw there, it took me, I don't know, 30 seconds, 45 seconds with the plane for what appears to be a near perfect joint. And I'm going to go ahead and plane the back joint as well off camera, and then I'll show you how I glue these together. Okay, so we're ready to clamp up the top, and as I said, the operation for the top and the back is the exact same, so I'm just going to demonstrate on the top for you. And the method I use for clamping, I'm not sure if there's a proper term for it. I call it the tent method. I think I heard someone refer to it that way. I'm not even 100% sure where I picked this method up. It may have been a video series I watched back when I was just starting, but it's a pretty simple concept. I've got my two pieces for the top here. I've got a stick, and what I'm going to do is I just prop the two pieces up on the stick. I've got some lines drawn on the top just for alignment, so I know where I want the two pieces to come together. And then next I'm going to take nails and just hammer nails down the edges of the top and back. And then when the stick of wood comes out and the two pieces are placed inside the nails, as they go down, the pressure from the nails being along the edges will push the joint together, and I'll just add some clamps and it will be good to go. So I'm going to speed up the video for the next part just while I put the nails in, and then I'll come back to regular speed and show you the actual gluing of the top. Okay, so our nails are all in, and what I want to do now is just check and make sure that the nails are making contact with the edges, which they appear to be. And I'll pull my stick out of the middle. I want to check and make sure that I've put some nails on the bottom here to hold the plates in alignment this way. I want to check and make sure that the lines I drew are coming together exactly where I want them. I'm just going to press down on this. There's lots of pressure pushing it together, which is what I want. You can see it springs. It'll spring back up there a bit, so that's good. So now it's all ready to glue. I'm going to turn it around sideways here. Just check to make sure you can see this in the video. And the way I've found sometimes that if I glue it and then put the two pieces together like this, it can be a little tricky to get both plates lined up, and that's a little bit of a concern here. The top plate I have here comes a little thinner than I would like, but just the supplier I buy this from already thins it out, so I don't have a lot of room for error if the pieces are not totally flat when they're glued. Sometimes with thicker pieces you can be off a little bit. It doesn't matter, that'll get sanded out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on the joint. I will slide this piece in like so. Make sure that it is lined up properly. Press it down and then clamp it. So everything looks good. I'm using my fish glue for this. It's just, I've tried coming up with a setup for using hot hide glue, and this just seemed like a much simpler simpler solution for this operation, the fish glue. and I have never had any kind of top failure. When using the fish glue, it works very well. It's got a longer open time. So I've just thin layer of glue very evenly along the edge. So now I just place it, again checking to make sure the pieces are touching the nails, and I'm pushing down on the middle just to make sure they're both flat against the board. And now what I'm doing is I'm pressing down on the back edge, which is forcing the plate into the nails, pressing the two pieces together. Okay, I've got a fair bit of pressure going here. There's some glue squeezing out all the way along the line, which is what I want. I'm going to take some clamps now and just wrap the wax paper over the back, or the kind of the tail here, and I'm just going to clamp that. I'm going to move up here and do the same. Okay, now I'm just going to make sure I force the top down the rest of the way. I'm going to add some clamps. Okay, I just want to make sure that everything is sitting flat and tight, which it appears to be. And I'm just going to grab a couple more clamps here. So there you are, the top plate has been glued. And again, off camera, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to the back. I will let this dry till tomorrow, and I think we will end this video at this point. It's been going long enough. So in the next video, you'll see how I lay out the pattern, decide where I'm going to cut it, and then we'll talk about cutting things out. We'll be working on the back in the next video, getting it ready for bracing. So thanks for watching. Again, this is an LG guitar being built for Paramount Guitars in Wisconsin. Be sure to check out Ken's website at paramountguitars.com. He's got a lot of my instruments in stock, and always happy to help if you're in the US market looking for one of my guitars. And this guitar will be on its way there shortly when it's completed. And so if you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll have the next few videos posted shortly, so thanks for watching.